Okay, you guys, hi. So we are going to continue learning how to find slope by using the slope formula, and then we will practice a few of them together, doing both ways so that you are ready for your quiz. So remember, if we want to find the slope of a line using the slope formula, we actually need to write down the formula, which is y from the second ordered pair minus y from the first, over x from the second ordered pair minus x from the first. Okay, in order to use this formula, let's label our points. It makes things really easy if we do that. This is point number 1. This is point number 2. So this is the x coordinate of our first point. This is the y coordinate of our first point. This is the x coordinate of our second point. This is the y coordinate of our second point. So once we have our points labeled, all we have to do is plug into this formula. We have to write this formula exactly like it is, so we don't change anything about it. We only replace the things that we know. So instead of the y2, we know the y2 is a 3. Okay, the y of our second point is a 3. Okay, then we have a minus sign in our formula. So we have to put in our minus sign. Then we have a y1. Okay, right? So our y1 is going to be 4 over. Then we have an x2, so that's the x of our second point, which is 0, minus. Okay, we have to put the minus sign here. Okay, we have to write our formula exactly like it is. And then we have x1, which in this case is a negative 3. Now this is where I want you to get out your calculators. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. 0 minus a negative 3. Okay, this really becomes 0 plus a positive 3, so that would be a 3. The slope of our line is negative 1/3. And we found that by using the slope formula instead of graphing and counting. But I want to show you really quickly. Okay, if we were to graph this point, negative 3, 4, so negative 3, 4 is right here, to the left 3 and then up 4. And then 0, 3, that's to the right or left 0 and then up 3. Okay, and then if I were to draw a line through these two, okay, to get from point A to point B, can you see that we have to move down and we have to move to the right? Okay, so we would be moving down 1 to the right 3, which we found that without having to graph and count. Okay, we found it by using the slope formula. But whether you graph and count or use the slope formula, it both works the same. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a few practice problems. I'm going to go ahead and load up the practice problems from the lesson. Okay, so here is the part where we're going to practice some problems, just like what you'll see on the quiz. So one of the things you need to do for the quiz is you need to be able to look at the graph of a line and find its slope by counting from one point to another point on the line. Okay, so we can see that we have a point on number 1. We can see that we have a point right here at 0, negative 3, and we have one right here at 2, 1. Okay, so let's call this one point A and this one point B. So when we find slope, we're going to count how many we have to move up or down to get from point A to point B. That's going to be the top of our fraction. And then the bottom of our fraction is how many we need to move to the left or to the right to get from point A to point B. Okay, now we're counting from point A to point B both times. Now you can see that we have to move up and to the right. To get from point A to point B, we have to move up and to the right. If we're moving up, that's going to be positive. If we're moving to the right, that's going to be positive. Okay, so now we just have to figure out how many we had to move up and to the right. So from here to here, we move up 1, 2, 3, 4. Positive 4. That's the top number of our fraction. And we have to move to the right 2. That is the bottom number of our fraction. Okay, our slope is always a fraction of the rise over the run. Okay, let's go ahead and look at number 2. So we have a point right here. We have a point right here. Okay, I'm going to label this point A and this point B. Okay, if we're going to travel from point A to point B, we have to figure out how many we move up or down. That goes on the top of our fraction. Okay, then we have to figure out how many we're moving to the left and to the right, or to the right. That goes on the bottom of our fraction. Okay, so from point A to point B, can you guys see that we have to move down and to the right? So if you're moving down, that's going to be negative. If you're moving to the right, that's going to be positive. Now we have to figure out exactly how many we move down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So the top of our fraction is a negative 5. We're moving to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. The bottom of our fraction is a positive 4. This is our slope, negative 5 over positive 4. Let's try another one. Okay, so we've got this point right here. We've got this point right here. We'll say this is point A, this is point B. Okay, so remember, when you count the rise over the run, you do how many you're going to move up or down first. If you move up, it's going to be positive. And then you have to figure out how many you move to the right or to the left. If it's right, it's going to be positive. Okay, so from point A to point B, we're moving up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Positive 7. We are moving to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Positive 5. That's our slope. Okay, so that's how you find slope by counting the rise over the run. Let's go ahead and talk about how to find slope using the slope formula again. So 5, negative 3, and negative 1, 6. So let's say we want to find the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points, but we don't want to actually have to draw the graph and count. Because we could do that if we wanted to, but that just takes too long sometimes. Okay, so instead, we're going to use this formula. In order to use this formula, let's label our points. This is point 1, this is point 2. This is the x-coordinate of point 1. This is the y-coordinate of point 1. This is the x-coordinate of point 2. This is the y-coordinate of point 2. So now all we have to do is plug into our formula. So instead of the y2, we know our y2 is a 6. Then there's a minus sign, so we write down our minus sign. Then instead of our y1, we know our y1 is a negative 3. Okay. And then our x2 is a negative 1. Then we have a minus sign. And then our x1 is a 5. And now we just simplify. 6 minus negative 3 would really be 9. Negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6. So our slope is 9 over negative 6. Okay, so let's go ahead and try another one of these. Let's find the slope of the line that passes through 7, 1 and 4, 8. Okay, so if we want to find the slope using the slope formula, we first write down our formula, then we label our points. This is the x of our first point, the y of our first point. This is the x of our second point, the y of our second point. Now we just plug into our formula. Instead of the y2, we know that's an 8. We have a minus sign. Instead of the y1, we know that's a 1. Instead of the x2, we know that's a 4. Then we have a minus sign. Instead of the x1, we know that is a 7. 8 minus 1 is 7. 4 minus 7 is -3. Okay, so our slope is 7 over -3. So here is your quiz. Okay, you are going to find the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points. And then you're going to find the slope of the line, this line right here, by counting the rise over the run. Okay, so don't forget, you count how many you move up or down first, and then how many you move to the left or to the right. Okay, with the 1, 4 and the 2, 3, label your points. This is the x of the first, the y of the first. This is the x of the second, the y of the second. And now all you need to do is plug into your formula. Okay, so go ahead and work on your quiz. If you are still super confused about this, please visit MathLab. Please text me. Please call me. Let's get together and work on this. Okay. When you send me your quiz, I'll be able to see where you're at on it. But you guys have an awesome day, and I will